What is up, guys? Welcome back to Game Junction. The Pokemon Presents. I've got some ideas and I've got something really cool to show you. So I generated a Pokemon bingo card and I want to see how accurate this is to what I think and give my sort of thoughts. I'm super excited, obviously, for Pokemon Day and the Pokemon Presents. I'm a massive fan. It's one of my favorite series, and I think there is still, regardless of what people say or think, I think there's potential for some good stuff here. And even though it's end of life for Switch, we're going to see a lot of the stuff that people don't care about. Pokemon Sleep, people care about the Pokemon TCG. Do video game fans care about that? Not so much. Obviously, there's going to be some other stuff, probably Pokemon Go. So there's going to be a lot of that general stuff that we see all the time and that people just don't care about. But I do think that there is, before we switch over to the bingo card to show that, I want to give a few things that I would like to see. I would like to see Pokemon Red, Blue, and Yellow, and Gold, Silver, and Crystal all brought over to Nintendo Switch Online. Do I think that's going to happen? I don't know. I feel like no, because Nintendo, GameFreak, the Pokemon company could all sell those separately on the eShop and they'll sell. I mean, they can throw the games up for $20 and they're going to sell regardless. People want to play those games. They want them on modern consoles. They want it to be accessible, and I get it. I am a big enough Pokemon fan that I would probably still grab those that way. And I think it's fair that if they did sell them separately, at least you've got them digitally. You don't have to worry about Nintendo Switch Online. If you're a subscriber to it or not, it would sell bundles and bundles of subscriptions. I mean, if it went to Nintendo Switch Online, there's going to be a lot of people that don't have it now that are going to go straight to that, and it's going to give them a ton of new subscriptions. So would it be smart on the part of them to do that or to sell it? I don't know. That, it's hard to say. Either one could happen. Whether we get them at all, it's hard to say. Now, one of the things about getting, Silver, Gold, and Crystal is that there's the potential that we get a new Let's Go game that's set in the Johto region. And if we get that, I feel like the chances are pretty unlikely that we get the other games, because they're going to want to sell the Let's Go games based on that region. And that makes sense. I mean, I get that. Do I like it? No, not so much. Here's a weird one I want to throw out that a lot of people aren't going to mention. Now, I haven't kept up with the Pokemon anime in a long time. I got to be real. I love Pokemon, but I have not kept up with TCG. I've tried to, but I'm a video game guy. That's what I stick with collecting. I do got some TCG, and they put some stuff out that's pretty cool, the 151, but we're going to see some Pokemon TCG stuff. That's a given. Pokemon Sleep, I feel like, again, is a given. I don't care about that game at all. It's not even a game. It's not for me. I get the concept. It's interesting. I tried it out because I'm a Pokemon fan. Just don't care at all. Now, I do think that we might see some information on Pokemon Go stuff. Again, whether you care or still playing, there are a lot of active users. Concurrent users on that game are very, very high still. It's not the same as when it released, but there's a diehard fan base for that game. So for them, I want to see them get some new content. I don't know what that new content would be. I haven't kept up with the game. I've tried to jump back in a few times and it just loses me every single time. I get sort of bored of the concept, but I get it and I get why people love it. But I think another thing that we're going to see now, we're at the end of Nintendo Switch's life cycle. So I think that means some quote unquote filler stuff, spin-off games. I have a good feeling that we might see a new Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. It's been a while. We've gotten one on Switch, which was a remake. But I think that, there was a big enough crowd for those games and they sold enough that it's justified for Nintendo to make a new one. And I would totally pick that up. I'm a fan of those games. I love them. Now, one that I want to mention that I want to see, and I don't know how likely this is, probably not very likely, but a new Pokemon Ranger. Oh my God, I love those games. I love those games so much. I've gone back and played them time and time again. Like, it's just been a forgotten Nintendo game. I mean, in the Pokemon series, like Pokemon Ranger, people love that. There's a cult following for that sub series, and we got a few of the games. One of the things is that I'm not so sure about is the touchscreen aspect, the way that it works specifically with really having the control with the stylus. I mean, the way that you had to capture the Pokemon and spin around with the stylus, like, I don't know how they could incorporate that with the Switch in the same degree and the same capacity that the Nintendo DS offered with that, because it was super accurate with the stylus. That's what I'm trying to say. But I would love to see a new one. Another one is a Pokemon Conquest 2. We've never seen another game from that. It's not even a series, it's a one-off game. I would love to see a second one. That was so unique. It was something entirely different for Pokemon. It was something that captivated me. Came out near the end of the Nintendo Switch or Nintendo DS life cycle, and it's also one that's very expensive now. That's because it's garnered such a cult following, and I don't think it's sold well. So the chances of getting a sequel to that are pretty slim. That's one I don't think that we're going to see. But I do think that we have the potential. The potential is there to get a new Legends game. Now, I've got to rein in my thoughts because we're not going to get 100 Pokemon announcements game wise. We're going to get a few. It's going to be to fill out the Nintendo Switch. We know about the other games coming out for the Switch. We just got Mario vs. Donkey Kong. We still have Princess Peach. We still have Paper Mario, and we still have Luigi's Mansion. And I don't know if I missed anything there, but we got the direct partner showcase, and we got some stuff there. A few things that are semi Nintendo related, as far as like GameFreak's Pocket Card Jockey. Not directly Nintendo, obviously, but I do wonder sort of what they will do to fill out that whole Pokemon Day. Usually the Pokemon Day, Pokemon Presents are the biggest ones. And I feel like now is the time to make those big announcements. And I want to say it now. We are not getting a mainline Pokemon announcement. It's not happening. And the reason I think is Power World. I think that they've obviously had something brewing up, and I think it would be a big mistake to release another mainline game on the Nintendo Switch when we saw the problems with Scarlet and Violet. Now, I still enjoy the games, but they have a lot of problems, a lot of problems. They still haven't patched that. And that brings up another point there. Will we see like actual patches for Scarlet and Violet? Will there be an announcement here with any additional content for Scarlet and Violet? Will we finally get the game fixed? That's all I want to know. I want to know, is the game going to get fixed? I love the game. I just rolled the credits the other day on stream, and I'm a fan, but it's got problems. And the only reason I think I can see through it is because I'm such a big Pokemon fan. Now, I think the game is still generally very good, and it builds upon what Legends Arceus did. That was a semi-open world game. It wasn't a true open world because you did have to go to different spots, and you had the loading screens. But it was that attempt to the open world. It felt like it was kind of an experiment, and generally people think that the Legends Arceus game is better than Scarlet and Violet, and I would have to agree with that. I'm a fan. I love that game. I think it's a solid 9 out of 10. Some people would say it's a 10 out of 10. It's a great game, and I think it worked better than Scarlet and Violet as far as performance wise. But the problem is that it's not open world. So Scarlet and Violet is just in a different category. Open world games are very hard and not optimized a lot of times for big games. I mean, you look at like the release of like Skyrim or things like that. The games are super buggy. They have issues. And this is the open world problem. This is a general discussion with the open world problem and where we're at. There's pretty much any open world game I can name had its issues. Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Far Cry 5 even has its issues. Just there's so many. So I think it would be a miss for them to announce a new mainline game. I think it needs to wait until Nintendo Switch 2. And that's all I got to say about that. So let's go ahead and switch over to the bingo card.